What's going on, guys? My name is Brandon, and today's episode is one that I've been wanting to do for quite a while, probably maybe even years, so stick around. So one of the issues I've been having, guys, lately is that this drill press really does not have the power to do the things that I need to do. And a lot of times I use hole saws on this. This is only a 3/8 chuck. It doesn't accept really anything that's worthwhile, but it does work really good for, you know, like spot drilling or getting a pilot hole started, but it just doesn't have the power. It gets bound up easy. I recently picked up this mag drill from Evolution Tools, and the great thing about this is that it accepts annular cutters, but it also accepts a regular, like Jacob style 1/2-inch chuck, so you can use regular drill bits in it. And this is all adjustable, so you can have super deep depth. But one of the problems, like using this, is that this needs to be magnetized to something, and generally the part that you're magnetizing it to is the piece you're going to be drilling out. So if you have a little tiny piece of angle iron, you're not going to be able to drill it. You know what I'm saying? So if I wanted to drill a hole in this piece of material right here, I would have to have this set on it like that, and if it was even smaller, it would even be more difficult. Create a way where we can have the torque and power and portability of a mag drill, but also have the precision and the ease of use as a drill press. That's what this week's episode is about, and it is going to be fun, and I'm really looking forward to this. So here's what we got, guys. I found this drill press on Facebook Marketplace, and the guy said in it that the bearing was gone in the motor, and other than that, though, that's all cast iron, and it has the rack and pinion gear. It's got the lock over here that needs to be lubed. Then you can move the table up and down by turning the crank, so that's kind of handy. I like that. A lot of these ones just have this on the back and you manually lift it up and down. Now this also has a base for it that this sets on. I got that too, but the motor, like I said, has a bad bearing in it. Listen. So if you were to use it, you'd have to replace that, but we're not going to use any of this. We're going to get completely rid of all this. Now, guess how much I paid for this, guys? Again, it's all cast iron, 30 bucks. Well worth what I need to do with it. So we are going to modify this to accept the portability, power, and torque of that. Let's get going. And here's the base to it, and that's all solid metal, so the drill press sits on this, and then these go right through. They're all tapped and go into this. This is fairly heavy, and it's not hollow underneath either. It's so you can see it's even solid underneath. So yeah, that makes it so it's a nice comfortable height. But we're going to leave this outside right now because I'm going to sand this down and probably sandblast it, clean it up. This will look brand new when it's done. I just plugged it in. We'll turn it on. I think it's got a bad motor starter and a bad bearing by the sounds of it. So it's plugged in. Listen to it. She doesn't want to turn on. But if I do this, it'll go. Hey guys, so we got it up on the lift. I got it set to a height, table's real low, so I can work on taking this head off. So this is what we got to take off next. I don't know how hard this is going to come off, but this all is going to need, once we get this disassembled, we're going to need to clean this up a lot because it's got a lot of rust on it. I want this to look really nice. So we got to start getting this off, but yeah, that is going to be part of that, and I think it's going to be pretty cool. This thing looks like it's been sitting outside for nearly ever. So I'm going to try to loosen these up, give them a little tap. Worst case scenario, we'll cut this whole head off it, but I prefer not to. I'd like to just, there we go. I'd like to just disassemble it. And that one came out. All these are just a little grub screw, like a little set screw.
A lot of times you can loosen a fastener by doing what I did here, and that's just hitting it with a hammer to rattle everything loose.
Alright, well, I've got those grub screws out. Hopefully that'll separate. I think what I'm going to do, guys, is I'll lower this table all the way down. Then I'll flip this upside down so that the table's resting here. Then I'll try to pound this head off right here. Like I said, this doesn't work, so I don't really care. I'm going to trash it. This thing's pretty heavy. There, now I'll just lift up the table. There. So now you can see that I got the whole thing supported and that head's off the ground now, so I should just be able to hit that and have it fall off. Oh, that's the idea anyways. Yeah, it's moving, guys. Let me bring you in, I'll show it to you. So I'll throw that part in the scrapyard. That's the part we're going to keep and modify. So this chuck here would have been centered over the hole on this table. So that's what I'm going to try to do with this mag drill as well. So what I've done is I just threw a spare drill bit inside of this, and I'm just eyeballing it, centering it down through the hole that's in this table. Then I just drew a line with a white metal marking crayon. So now I know where the edge of this metal plate or the magnet needs to be in order to make it so it's centered in the hole of the table. And because this table adjusts and swivels, I can now loosen this up and just give this a turn. We'll try and make that parallel to this. Alright, so I've done a little bit of a guesstimating, and for this to work I'm probably going to have to cut this tube off, like right about down here, pretty close to this ring. Now this table is all the way up, okay, and then we'll set the mag drill on that, okay. Now the lowest this can go right now is right there. That's 6-7 inches there. So I got to take that out of this post. Whatever that is there, that's how much I need to take out. We're about 6 1/4 inches, and that's about 6 1/2. So that's about what I got to take out. So this ring right here is plastic. So what I might have to do is remove this ring, cut this little piece of gear right here, and then slide this down, because when I got to weld this plate onto this, I don't want to melt that. Make sense? So we got to take off at least 6 inches off this. And in order for me to do that, I'm going to have to use my metal cutting chop saw so I get a super straight, accurate cut, because I want this plate, I don't want it canted. So we'll have to strip all of this stuff off. This plastic, this gear, this table, we'll have to take all of that off so I can clamp it in the saw and get a nice straight, awesome cut. So it looks like we'll cut it something like that. Get that out of there. And we'll crank this out. And we'll have to, I guess, manually lift this. And now we're all separated. Now we can get this clamped into the chop saw and do a real nice job. But this is a pretty beefy part right here. You can see the back side of the bolt down in there, because this whole table swivels that way too. This is pretty heavy. Yeah, you can see that down there. And you just put a wrench on that to rotate that table around. We'll have to clean this up so that can be rotated, and this will all look nice. I think we'll probably sandblast a lot of this stuff, get it cleaned up real good. And we may do a lot of the stuff silver, a lot of the trim on it, just so that it kind of matches this drill press. And like I say, I'll probably just use this one with probably exclusively like a 1/4-inch bit in it all the time, and this will just be used for pilot holes. And then I can move my project from here over to the new drill press, and I can use whatever I want to do with that one, because that's got a ton of torque. Not so much for this one. And you can see where I've kind of like marked it where I want to cut this a little bit shorter, so we'll end up having to copy that bevel as well. And to make this precision cut, I'm going to be using Evolution Tools new, this is one of their newest chop saws. It's the S380 CPS. It's heavy duty, and it comes with a 14 blade installed on it. I believe you can get a 15-inch too, but check that out. It just amazes me every time that a metal blade like this can just cut through metal. I don't know, it's awesome. And it's burr free and it's not hot. It just does a wicked nice job. And I got my mark right here.
If you guys are curious about any of the tools that you see me using, or you want to know more information about it, I've got links down in the description. You can check it out.
Alright, put on your eye protection and ear protection. It's loud.
This was the perfect tool for the job for this, because this top piece had to be super accurate. Just having it in this chop saw makes it super square. Like I said earlier, if you're interested in any of the tools that you see me using, just click the links down below. Evolution Tools has been nice enough to give our channel viewers a 5% or up to a 5% discount on any of the Evolution tools, but you have to use the links down in the video description to get that 5% discount.
Burr free, not even hot. If you did that with an abrasive saw, you'd have burnt your hand off. So we've got this modified. I'm not sure if you can see it, but this line right here represents where the top of that bracket that holds that table goes. So this is that mark there as well. So then inside here, probably hard to see, there's a little bit of a taper. You see that taper? So that taper goes up about a 1/4 inch. So about a 1/4 inch up above that, I've made a line, which is right there, and we're going to bevel it. So just like this bevel right here, we're just going to make that bevel right there, shorten it up. That way we'll be able to weld this up without melting this ring. And so to find this angle, I'm just going to use a bevel tool, and just like that. That looks like it. Snug it down. There it is. And now I can just slide my tool down and transfer that onto this. So we're going to cut that off there and then grind that bevel in. Then that will have that bevel ground on it just like that. That'll match the other one that we just took off. Could also scratch it on there too if we wanted. It's another way of doing it. Let's try that. So here's a little tip for you guys. Take some black marker, just like that, let it dry, and we'll use the old piece that we just cut off as our template, and then just use a metal scribe and just scribe the line. See that? Get a nice crisp line that we can grind to. So now we'll bring this to the grinder and grind it off. A few of you guys have mentioned about me wearing my mirrored safety glasses, so I got some different ones. So I reached out to a company called Pyramex. That's where I get all my safety glasses from. I just really like their stuff, and it's super affordable. So I got some different ones. I'll put the link down in the description to my new ones. But oh yeah, what do you think of that? Huh? So these are yellow, but they're super crisp. I mean, like the detail, everything looks brighter when I'm wearing these. I can just see details a lot brighter. Let me see if you guys can see. Yeah, see, things look yellow to you, but to me, they just look brighter. Things are a lot more clear wearing them. So yeah, I'll have links down below. So what do you think, guys? You like these? These are the same idea as my other Pyramex ones, and these are a kind of like a smoked mirrored frame. See? Same idea. Different color. Just gotta grind to our line. Yeah. Just like that. She's good and hot. So now that we got this cut, I just kind of like set this on here to see how this gear would work and all that, and everything seems to be just fine. So we're going to be welding on this big heavy piece of plate right on top of that. So what I got to do is I got to prep not only this, get all the paint off it, but I also got to prep this, put a bevel on it so the weld's got a place to go. And then we'll probably just wire brush this up real quick, wire brush the shaft up real quick, and at some point we'll probably end up bringing this outside, and we'll probably sandblast all of this, and we'll probably also sandblast the base that this bolts onto. And for abrasives, I'm using a 40 grit zirconia flap disc, and then I'm going to use a big wire wheel on my 4.5 inch grinder, and I got all that stuff from Empire Abrasives. I'll have links down in the description for all the stuff that I'm using if you guys are wondering.
Now here, like I said, I'm just putting a slight bevel all the way around that using that flap disc. And that's just going to give me a place where the weld puddle can go when we go to weld on that big heavy plate. Now this wire cut brush, when I ordered this, I guess I kind of didn't really realize how big it was, but this thing is big. You can feel the torque when you're using it. It's probably the biggest wire cup wheel I've ever used on a 4.5 inch angle grinder, but it just takes down material extremely fast. And it's well put together because all the little barbs didn't go flying out. A lot of the cheaper ones, they will. This one didn't do that. Now another thing I want to bring to you guys' attention, the Rock Rooster Boots giveaway, that is coming up real soon. So if you want to be in on that, be sure to click on the video link. I'll put it up above. But follow that link, watch that video, and it'll tell you what you got to do to be entered into the Rock Rooster Boot giveaway. It's free to do it. There's no purchase necessary.
Yeah, so check this out. I just kind of like quickly put it together just to make sure everything was going to work as I intended. So this now is going all the way up, and then it just stops. So you see now how close that little shaft is, this little spline piece. Now it's like real close. So now the plate that we prepped will weld onto here. Then if we need to, we can put some little gussets on this. We probably won't need them, and I probably won't do it, but we could if we needed to. So for this, guys, we're going to be using 1/8 inch 7018 rods so we can weld this plate up onto this. And I'm going to be using my Fronius Transtig 210. If you guys buy one of these welders, either the Transtig 210 or the 170, between now and August 31st, you guys are running out of time, but you got to hop on board. If you use my promo code for that, you will get one of these given to you for free, a Phaser 1000. This is auto darkening helmet. It's wicked good. It's almost a $300 value just for the helmet. But you got to do it between now and August 31st, 2020. Now I'm still making myself familiar with this welder. Right now you can see we're in the stick mode, and we're at 119 amps right now. We're going to go up to about 130, and we hold down this and then press that to get into the menu. So HCU, and then you just bring up this little handy chart. HCU is hot start current, so it's 130% of that. And then you just turn this little dial, and that is what this chart references as starting current duration, basically how long that hot start current is going to go. And it also has pulse frequency. I'm sorry, that's the startup ramp, and that's on. FP is it's got pulse, so you can do pulse stick, and it's off right now. AST is anti-stick, so that's on. CEL off. That's dynamic correction, and that's at 20%. How long the system has been running, it's 6.59 hours. And how long it's been active. So yeah, these are an awesome welder, guys. And it's got a full 3-year warranty. So if anything goes wrong with it in 3 years, they'll hook you up. They're a great company. So I'll have links down in the description if you want to know about any of these tools that I'm using. Alright guys, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get some tacks on it, but I got to be careful because I don't want to melt. I don't want to weld too long and melt that little plastic ring that I showed you. So
now what I've done here is I've placed that heavy metal plate on top of the post, and then I just put an added weight on top of it so it doesn't move when I'm trying to weld it. To figure out where this plate needed to be before I started welding, what I did was I just did a vertical line up from that white line that we made on the table. Remember the white line we drew across? Well, I made sure that the front edge of that was in line with that white line that we made on the table. And now I'm just going around tacking everything in place, and like I said, that heavy weight on top is to keep things from moving.
So obviously I've got it flipped around. I just got to be real careful. I don't want to melt that little plastic ring right there. So I'm going to just kind of probably do little short beads and just keep checking it to see how much heat's radiating up through. Because if you think about it, once this is welded all the way around here, I can't get this off, I can't get this off, and I can't get that ring off. It's permanent. So I have to make sure I don't ruin this. You know, that's kind of why I kind of got this nice and pretty much polished up right now, because it was easy to do it now versus to try to do it later and try to go around all this stuff.
And for this, I'm running 130 amps DC electrode positive, and as I said, 7018 rods.
Alright, so now I'm just going to rotate this around. It didn't get too much heat, so I'm not really worried about it melting. So I think I might do it in 3 sections rather than 4. So I'll probably do a little here and then kind of fill in the side. I don't know.
What you didn't see me do is after I went over this with a wire cut brush, I took the round column and then went over it with 120 grit flap disc, and then after that I polished it up nice and smooth with 320 grit sandpaper on a palm sander. That way it got that column nice and smooth and there won't be any binding whatsoever. It should work really nice.
Hey guys, we're all set up outside and we're going to start sandblasting. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sandblast these areas here. I'm not going to sandblast this lower cabinet. I'm going to just use a palm sander on that. This has a little bit more intricate little pieces in it, so we'll do this and then we'll just do that with a palm sander. So for sandblasting, you guys that are regular viewers, this is what I'm using. And I've just got a regular compressor hooked up to this, and I'm just using 30 to 60 grit glass. This does a pretty good job. And this works pretty easy. It just has an on-off valve. That's it. Fill it with sand. There's really nothing that can go wrong.
Whenever I use this tool, a lot of you guys ask what I'm running for a compressor. It's nothing fancy. It's an older Craftsman air compressor. It's a 5 horsepower. It's horizontal. It's like a 35-gallon tank, and it runs on 120 volts. It keeps up with this just fine. Yeah, it's doing a pretty good job. So for you regular viewers, you'll know that we did, not too long ago, this past winter, that TRX 70 rebuild that we did, and we took all those parts right down to bare metal. I'm not really looking to do that here. I'm just looking to get all the loose stuff off, just so it gives it some good tooth, and then we can paint this because it's going to be a drill press. It's going to get banged up. It's going to have fluids on it. Paint's probably going to get chipped up and whatnot. So it doesn't need to be right to bare metal, but I do want to get off all the loose stuff. Now, before the paint was even dry on this project, I had already had plans on modifying it again. I probably won't, but in hindsight, I probably would have cut open that square base, that big base, and maybe put a door on it and some shelves to hold drill bits and whatnot. So that's just an idea for you guys if you pick one of these up. But yeah, I mean, I picked this up for 30 bucks, so it was a steal.
All right, so we got it down into the workshop. So this is what I think we're going to do as far as the plan. This and this is going to be hammered finish in a can. And this is going to be silver. This hammered silver. So is this handle, and so is this. And then that will kind of match the other drill press that's over here. You can see how it's got a black base, and then the table is silver. So I think that's what we're going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this aside and I'm going to squirt a little bit of paint underneath where this is, and then I just went and picked up some hex head cap screws just to make it look a little bit more finished rather than a regular hex nut, hex bolt. Then that will go down in that, and that'll just kind of give it a more finished look. So I'm going to squirt a little bit of paint underneath that. We'll bolt this down and then we'll get masking off and get this thing painted.
And the reason I squirted it underneath like this, guys, is that part you're really not going to see, so it's going to protect it, and then it allows me to handle it less. And on these bolts, I put a little bit of Loctite on them right before I tightened them up, because initially when I went to take the original bolts out that were in this, I thought they were going to break. They came out hard, so I will probably never have to separate these two halves, but for the next guy that does, it should come apart a lot easier for him. And then I just applied a light coat for the first one, then applied a medium one for a second, and then a heavier third one, and that was it.
I'm really happy how this looks, but I'm like a little kid. It's still a little wet and I can't wait. I just want to like peel it all back and see how it looks. Oh yeah. Wow. And here it is, guys, and I could not be any more happier with the finished product than this. It's just something I've wanted. I've wanted a nice drill press for the shop for a long time. I've wanted one that has a lot of torque and a lot of power, and this power head is going to be able to provide that. So look, it's got 2,860 pounds of pulling force. So there's no way that you're gonna pull this off this plate. And you know, the greatest part about this is that now it's a dual purpose tool. Simply turn the magnet on and it works just like a regular drill press now. And when you're not wanting to use it for a drill press and you want to use it like a mag drill, simply turn off the power switch and walk away with it, you know? Carry it away. It's that simple. Another added bonus that you got with this is that this also comes with an automatic oiler. So again, that just is going to prevent me from having to have extra stuff. I like having all the space. I can put my annular cutters down here. I can put my drill bits down here. It's just an all-around good thing. This table tilts, so it tilts that way, left and right. Then it just locks underneath with that. And if you clamp down something on this fixturing part, it also has a lock here so this table can spin. And I'm just so excited about this, guys. Like, a lot of them just have the locking knob on the back and you manually slide this up and down. This you can just adjust it from right where you are. And what I did was on this post, I just wiped it down, this post and all the bare surfaces, with some 3-in-1 oil just to protect it. But yeah, you can bring this up into position real quick where you want, and then turn this locking screw on the back, and then this just locks the table in position. So, just like that. And these are those annular cutters that you can put inside this also. It's got like a regular Jacob style chuck that goes in this. It'll accept up to a 1/2-inch bit, and you can also put in annular cutters, pull this out, and your annular cutters go into that. So pretty versatile tool, plus it's portable and it's got a ton of torque and power. So I'm sure this is what you guys wanted to see. I mean, at least does it work? Well, I can tell you that this drill bit is in my box of drill bits that need to be sharpened. So, but we'll give it a try and we'll see how it works. So I just got my drill vise. We'll lower it down. Clamp this in my drill vise. This is just some real thin metal, guys. This isn't anything overly thick, but we'll just give it a try. So I got it clamped into my drill vise, and obviously this is all the way up. We'll bring this within range of it, kind of close, lock down the handle. Then we turn on the magnet on the back. So this would be great too, that oiler, all automatic, and we'll do that in an upcoming episode. We'll put the oiler on it and we'll do some experimenting and see just how far we can take this tool. Generally, you wouldn't put a 1/2-inch hole through a piece of metal without a pilot bit, but we're doing it here because that's going to put a lot of torque on this drill. It's going to want to lift it up because there's no pilot. It's just like forcing its way through the metal. easy as that. This thing has so much torque, guys. Check that out. So this was my thoughts behind this, guys, that a real good drill press is going to cost you a few $100, okay? Not to mention if you want to go out and buy a mag drill, which is going to cost you another few $100. So, in my opinion, I got 2 tools for the price of 1. In my opinion, that's, you know, I paid $30 for this drill stand, all of it, including the base. Paid $30 for all of it. Got it on Facebook Marketplace. Picked up a mag drill and then converted it into a drill press. So, like I say, in my opinion, I got 2 tools for the price of 1, and it's super portable and it's got a ton of torque and power. I think that's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. And that's all there is to it, guys. If this is something that you like, please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. New videos every Friday. If you're wondering what I'm working on before it even makes it up to YouTube, you guys can catch me on Facebook and on Instagram. I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Until next Friday, I will see you then. Take care. Stay safe. See ya. Subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button. See ya.